All right, football fans, welcome to another edition of the NAIAF Ball Live Show, powered by AdCraft Custom Apparel and Merch, the leaders in apparel, merch, and uniform. They are the experts there. Try them out for a web store. It is so easy. They ship everything for you, no hassling, trying to figure out where you're supposed to ship, and all that good crap. Let them take care of that for you. You have better things to do with your time. They do it for us. They do it for our buddy John Cooper over doing high school ball. They're good folks. Give them a call. Hit them up. See what they can do. Matt, what a phenomenal week of dadgum football we had this week. Holy Christmas.
It was a lovely week of football and a lot of things that proved me right. So I'm feeling good about that.
Like Morningside barely beating Midland?
I was talking more Montana Western.
Okay,
But
that's
we'll get
fair.
to that.
That's
Yeah.
fair. I'm grieving today with my College of Idaho shirt on. It's okay. It's okay. I could be wrong. But what we were really right about is the fact that St. Thomas is really dadgum good.
They're rolling. It is. The train is on the tracks. You better get off. This thing ain't stopping. It doesn't look like it, anyways.
I mean, you go up to Chicago, and I mean, that defense was incredibly swarming. A forced fumble, an interception, 10 tackles for loss, including 5 sacks of Stuart Ross, who was held to almost 50% passing on the day. I mean, that's just there's really no more you can say about that. You throw 5 touchdowns if you're Keely Watson on 23 completions. That's like a touchdown pass every 5 completions.
Yeah, this St. Thomas team is on an absolute tear, ripping off 3 touchdowns in the second quarter of this game just to be able to cruise the rest of the way and know your defense was going to take care of the rest of the game for you. This St. Thomas team very obviously wants their shot at Kaiser really, really bad because they are blazing right now. This is a terrifying football team.
A Kaiser team who we don't have a score graphic for this, but just went through their second D2 team in a row on the road like it was absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of scary. I mean, we think about this team 2 years ago. They lost all those D2 games and then went to the national championship game. This is a Kaiser team who's beating D2 squads.
Yeah, because they're at, 2 now that they've racked up?
In a row, yeah.
In a row.
That's going to be super fun when they come to the Rose City in Thomasville. As long as it doesn't rain, it will be more fun than the Bethel game. I can promise you that. That was
what was it fun about that, Corey?
I should have thought ahead and brought a second pair of socks to put on. I did not. That was my bad. So I sat in my own misery with my wet feet. Anyway,
it's a rookie mistake, Corey.
It is a rookie mistake. But who's not making rookie mistakes is Jackson Waring. I mean, that is a horrendously ugly stat line to have won by 24 points. I mean, 9 of 20? Okay.
I mean, 2 of them were touchdowns, and he ran for another 100 and another touchdown.
Right.
So I think he's fine.
Grandview's defense really did come to play. I mean, Jackson Dooley was absolutely... He wasn't himself. In the first half, he had 3 intentional grounding penalties, including one for a safety.
Yeah.
I mean, that's so not what we expect from Dooley.
Mm-hmm. And to top it all off, too, I mean, this was a game that was within a couple scores going into the fourth quarter, and then the doors just got blown off, right? Like
Right.
this, despite what was going on for Benedictine and Dooley perhaps not performing to what we've seen him perform at, they were still in it. And then Grandview just pulled away. They showed they were the better team. I think that's just what this game proved. I think Benedictine's still a fantastic team, obviously. I think they're still a top 10 team this year. But Grandview's just on that upper echelon like they have been for years now.
And then the other top 10 matchup that, you know, I'll take my lumps here. Michael Palandri was freaking brilliant. There's nothing more you can say about that. 416 yards on 28 throws. That's like 15 to 20 yards per attempt. That is absurd, racking up 6 total touchdowns on the day.
Yeah, this guy's playing like the best guy in the country right now, like truthfully. Getting it done through the air, the supporting cast around him. I mean, he had 2 receivers with over 100 receiving yards, a third with like 85 in this game, 4 touchdowns across them. Shipley's playing absolutely great. Eli Norse, John Kirkley are the other 2 guys in that wide receiver room who are performing at a high level right now. This team looks really good, and I was really high on them going into the season, but even I've been surprised about how they have just rolled. And they were in control of this game pretty much the entire time. They took a grasp and didn't really let go for College of Idaho.
I think what's crazy about this game is how much Montana Western did control it.
Mm-hmm.
And yet you see that College of Idaho came away empty in the red zone 4 times.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think that after they did that against Kaiser last year, they would have gotten that out of their system.
Mm-hmm.
That was a chance for 28 points. That wins you the game if you
Absolutely.
punch it in there.
Even if you don't punch it in, field goal, like you at least get something out of it, right? It's red zone offense is just so tricky. There's so much less field space to work with than you'd like, but you have to find ways to get, your sequence down those couple plays that'll get you a couple yards on the goal line. Like you just got to get that dialed in, because at this upper level, like you saw a team like Montana Western, they're going to take advantage of that every single time.
And then staying over in the Frontier, Carroll wins about the most Carroll game that you could ever think of, 16-13, and neither quarterback goes over 200 yards passing, and both of them have double-digit rushing attempts for sizable yards. This is the Frontier.
This is football as God intended, Corey. This is where the real men play. And if you can't accept that, you're not built for it. I don't know what to tell you, but Carroll's clearly built for it. They looked pretty good. Rocky Mountain, obviously, not off to the best start to their season, but they're still decent. It's the Frontier. Like, Rocky Mountain will probably rattle off 3 more wins this season against, and one of them will be against the team they're not supposed to beat. Like, that's just how it goes.
Yep.
So they'll be fine.
And again, we go right back to that red zone production. You went 2 out of 3, but one of those was a field goal.
Yeah.
You have if you turn that field goal into a touchdown, or if you score even another field goal on your other chance, that game is tied at 16. And who knows what happens in overtime?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red zone offense and 3rd and 4th down conversions will tell you the larger story 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then sometimes you Iowa this thing if you're Marion. You have a punter who averages 50.5 yards per punt.
That's what gets you drafted, man. There you go.
That's and 3 of those. Okay, so and not only was it a 50.5 average, but 3 of the 4 punts he had were inside the 20. So my man was going for distance and precision here.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, the game that was as close as it was, that being able to flip the field like that makes a humongous difference in the grand scheme of things.
We told y'all Concordia was going to be pretty good. I don't know that they're top 25 good at this point, but they're gonna bite someone who they shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see going forward with Marion. Southwestern Kansas Western was another good one. I did not expect this to be a 30-point ball game in Southwestern's in Southwestern's favor. But that's what happens when you convert almost 2/3 of your third and fourth down conversions.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the game that kind of proved that Southwestern is back in form. We had our questions about them going into the season. They were kind of in a weird spot after last year. Clearly picked up the pieces and are doing just fine. They're starting to roll. Beat a Kansas Wesleyan team who's probably going to be one of your main competitors within the grander scheme of the KCAC, obviously. So being able to get that convincing win under your belt's really good for this Southwestern team.
And then what we'll sit on and talk about here real quick, and that's Southeastern Reinhardt. Southeastern pulls the upset. I'm still trying to wrap my head. We talked about the punter of Marion, and I really hate dogging any kid. And to be fair, Colby Harrison did have one blocked. But an 8.3 yard average on punts with a long of 50. I'm still kind of trying to math that. And according to the box score, he had a negative 14-yard punt that was downed, and no one was given credit for the block. So I guess you could kick the ball over your head.
Bad snap,
That's true.
maybe.
That would be counted as a rush, though, right?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
You would think that would be counted as a rush.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I'm so sorry, Colby. That really stinks as a stat line, and my heart goes out to you. But when you look at the difference in this team, because you have a Southeastern team who was only 4 of 14 on third and fourth down conversions.
Yeah.
You had but you had the balanced rushing attack. Your quarterbacks were a combined 2 for 6 passing for Southeastern. That's in games like that. That punting is going to kill you.
Yeah. Yeah, no question about it. I just don't know. I'm trying to wrap my head around how you lose a game where the other team is under 30% on third and fourth down. That is usually such a big stat when you look at a box score.
To pull the other side, Reinhardt only converted like 32%, so they were right there together.
Yeah.
But Southeastern's punts were, I think they were averaging 40 or so.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking about that and talking about flipping the field, and you've got Jardavian Colbert, who only went for 54 yards. So that Southeastern defense was stacking up and
that's
forcing Stephen Craig to try to chunk it. I mean, I'm going to be honest. There is no universe in which Reinhardt wants to throw the ball 32 times a game. That's not who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And so my question then is a larger one. Is there anyone worth a darn in the Appalachian? I mean, we went into this season thinking that Reinhardt would be at least serviceable. Their one win against Faulkner was like a 24-21 win against a Faulkner team who is absolutely rebuilding.
Yeah.
And Pikeville, who we thought was going to be pretty good, is 0-3. And I'm bumfuzzled.
Yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. We're getting past the point of it being like super early in the season for it to like, I don't know. It's such a weird situation to be in with this conference.
And we'll circle back to this later because, part of what this week's slate of games is going to kind of prove or disprove one team or another.
Hmm.
But I don't know what to make of Reinhardt. I'm still so confused at. I mean, right now in SP Plus, what was it, Matt? They were like in the 40s.
Yep. We have. I literally
It
just
was like
had it up.
Upike at 46 at 0-3, and Reinhardt at 47 or something like that.
Yeah, it was Pikeville at 47, Reinhardt at 48. Pikeville one spot ahead as an 0-3 team.
So you're talking about a team where your best squads are almost straight down the line, middle of the entire NAIA.
Yeah.
And I don't get it because Reinhardt's generally a really good team. And I've seen Corey Phipps work magic at places where he ought not have been able to work magic. I don't know. Something's going on, and I can't yet make heads or tails of it. But making heads or tails of it is exactly what we ask Connor Darnell to do every week, week in, week out. Matt loves my transitions to
Every
these.
time.
Every time I is it forced? Yes. Is it cheesy? Yes. But you expect it now.
Yeah, that's. I mean.
And what you
Yeah.
expect with Connor week after week is excellence. And that
There
is
it is.
see, I did it again. Commitment graphics, schedule graphics. We're sending out some swag, some bag tags to our players of the week this year. Those are fantastic. I have bag tags on all of my stuff. My laptop bag over to the side here has one. My carry-on bags have it. They're so nice and they're such high quality. Hit him up if you need any design work. He's very good at what he does. NAI born and bred. Day job is still at an NAI school. So if you want a guy who knows what you're going through, Connor's your dude. And so onto our media poll, which is weird. There was so much not consternation. There was so much upheaval this last week. It led to a whole bunch of turning around, and you've got a College of Idaho team sitting there at 14, having lost 11 spots. An Indiana Wesleyan team who gets caught up in this mosh here. Barely losing to an FCS Pioneer school. They go down 6. Texas Wesleyan shoots up 5. Bethel beats the snot out of Thomas and rises 3. Morningside looks mortal and rises a spot. There was just so much upheaval over last week that it's going to take a week or two to get everything settled in, I think.
Yeah, and I think still a big question for me about this entire poll is where does Dickinson State land?
Yeah.
They lost this past week to an okay D3 team, but that's usually a translation game that you want to win as an NAI school, that you feel like you should be able to win. It was a close game, and obviously, like, that's a very good recruiting area for D3 schools, like that entire Minnesota, Wisconsin region. They have good talent. It's just, I don't know. I have my doubts on Dickinson State now. Obviously, they can shut me up whenever they feel like. I just need to see it going forward with conference play for them.
And I'll note this 5-team spread here between 13 and 17, where you've got 3 teams from the same division in Benedictine, Baker, Mid-America, Nazarene.
Mm-hmm.
That is, we came into the season saying that division was going to be incredibly close with how Benedictine played against Morningside. You thought Benedictine might jump ahead, but obviously Grandview is absolutely on another level.
Mm-hmm.
But Baker and Mid-American Nazarene are quietly putting teams to bed by wide margins.
Yeah, Truman Yulesgard for Baker especially looks really, 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 really good. Him and
Adrian
our
Parsons.
guy from
Oh,
Montana Western.
Palandry.
Yeah, they both look like two of the best players in the country right now. They're both fantastic. Mid American Nazarenes playing with their hair on fire. They look great.
I feel like we've got a top 5, and then 6 through 25, tied for 25, are all separated by a hair's breadth.
Yep, absolutely.
It is so hard. It is so hard to figure out where you're going to put these teams, because it's just like, okay, if I had, let's say, Indiana Wesleyan play Carroll on a neutral site, that's a whale of a ball game.
Yeah.
I can't tell you who wins that. That Bethel squad didn't even play their starting quarterback against Thomas. And they threw 3 passes, and it was...
Still won by 35.
Still won by 35. Thomas had no answer for quarterback draw or quarterback power. And boy, having an extra blocker really helps.
It's true.
So let's take a look then. Well, we'll take a look at our top performers of the week after a quick break, after a word from our friends at AdCraft.
So you want to create and sell custom merch for your team or business. That's exciting, but where do you begin? How much inventory should you order? How do you distribute orders? AdCraft has your answers. Streamline the way you offer custom merch by utilizing our risk-free web store service. We ship directly to each customer, and we have the fastest turnaround in the game. Raise funds for your team or get merch to your employees and patrons. Contact AdCraft today, and let's bring your merch to life.
That is exactly what they do. They are so good at it. They are absolutely experts in their field, and we are so glad to have them on our side and sponsoring us, because they're phenomenal folks. Again, NAI born and bred. We do, as a rule of thumb, we do try to keep our sponsors as NAI as we can get it. To make sure that we are paying it back into the league, and making sure that those guys who come from those roots get a chance to shine. AdCraft is one of those. They are so good at what they do. Their stuff is amazing, and you would be well served to do a web store. But we've talked about that a little bit before, so we will go on to our players of the week. And, well, Matt, I think the offensive one is pretty apparent. It's got to be Palandry.
Yeah, Palandry just absolutely decimating College of Idaho's very stout defense through the air. And on top of it, 2 touchdowns on the ground for a guy that, look at that, he's got a knee brace on. He's not supposed to be moving like that. So, hey, getting it done through the air, on the ground, in a very good week for Montana Western. And they solidified themselves at the top of the food chain with this performance for now. So, good on our boy Michael Palandry. Like I've said multiple times, he looks like the best player in the NAI right now.
And Montana Western very nearly had a sweep. They had a defensive player that had like 3.5 tackles for loss. The initial box score said 5 tackles for loss, and that really gets my makes me happy when I see that many tackles for loss. They revised it down. So, unfortunately, they do not sweep, and it's Midland's Trayden Davis-Reed with 9 tackles, 1 tackle for loss, a forced fumble, and an interception, keeping it extremely tight with Morningside, a team that, I don't know, is Midland that good? We'll see, I guess.
I mean, in past years, Midland is constantly a headache. They're constantly fighting at that top 25. It seems like every single year. They're a competitive football team. Their defense especially gets after it. From my own personal experience, that's definitely been the strong suit of their team over the past few years. And, Trended's no exception to that. So good on him for getting it done this week in a very close contest.
We'll take a look at our what to watch for here. In terms of top tier games, it's pretty slim pickings. You got a 3 o'clock matchup, College of Idaho at Southern Oregon. That's going to be a good one. And then your eyes do not deceive you. That is a receiving votes Texas College. They are 2-0. They're 2-0.
2-0 Texas College. Look out.
Look, here's the thing. Either whoever voted for Texas College is going to be proven to be an absolute genius if they go out and upset Ottawa of Arizona, or this vote gets put to bed within a week. That's one of those where I don't mind seeing that, where you go, I'm going to put them up here to watch for a week. And then if they don't win, they don't win. But
yeah,
I will.
I think it's fair.
Seeing that one's going to be over at about 1 a.m. my time, I'll check that one Sunday morning.
I'll stay up for that one. And to note, SP Plus says this is 75th ranked in the NAIA Texas College versus 21st ranked Ottawa, Arizona.
David and Goliath here.
Do the numbers lie? We will find out.
There are so many other good sneaky games, though. And we've looked at this off air a little bit. I mean, there's a whole lot of games that are maybe not top tier, but they can really sway our decision one way or another. You've got a Northwestern team that plays host to Midland. Same Midland team who just kept it extremely close with Morningside. You've got Montana Western that goes to D3 Lewis and Clark. You never know with the D3 what you're going to get.
That should be a comfortable win for them, but you never know.
You've got Indiana Wesleyan coming off of a terribly close game against Valpo that then now has to travel to Olivet Nazarene, a team who's been fairly good, if inconsistent, this year.
Just won a thriller in overtime over Siena Heights, too.
Right. So, is Indiana Wesleyan all that we thought they were preseason, or is Olivet Nazarene going to play spoiler? You don't know. It's a really good benchmark game at this point of the season. Friends versus Kansas Wesleyan. While Kansas Wesleyan's no longer receiving votes, it's a good one to show where Friends is.
Yeah, that one could sneak up on you if you're Friends and you're not prepared for that one.
Mid-America Nazarene versus Graceland. First one to 100 wins.
Take the over, whatever it is.
Take the over. Gerald Monroe has looked human the last couple of weeks for Graceland. And by human, I mean that he's only put up 100-plus yards and not 300-plus yards.
Defenses probably saw the film and were like, hey, we should probably do something about that guy.
But it's a great test for Mid-America's defense to be able to see what they can do there. It's another one of those good games to kind of keep an eye on to see where that is.
Yep. The metrics right now, SP Plus really likes Mid-America Nazarene. They are 4th in the NAIA right now. So
they're on that train, baby.
They're on that train. It's definitely a prove me moment for Mid-America Nazarene here.
Cumberland of Tennessee, who is receiving votes for a second straight week, shockingly 3-0. I mean, this is a team that I saw last year starting to do some good things. They're really doing good things this year. They play an undefeated Florida Memorial team who, right?
Undefeated Florida Memorial. I don't think I've heard that one before. 2-0, 46th in SP Plus Florida Memorial.
Where's Cumberland?
Cumberland is 33.
Okay. So, again, we get another one of those games where it's sneaky good. Winner of this game probably is going to be receiving votes, if not pushing top 10 or pushing into the top 25.
Whoa.
Slow your roll there, Thorpe.
Quite a leap.
Quite a leap, quite a leap. Cumberlands of Kentucky, 2-0 Cumberlands of Kentucky, going to play at Waleska at a Reinhardt team that's licking its wounds. That I am sure James Miller is going to make this a very fun week of practice. Can Reinhardt bounce back? Again,
Yeah.
Reinhardt no longer in our poll, no longer receiving votes. This is not a necessarily qualifier for our what to watch for, but this is a game where you go, okay, is Cumberland's really going to be that team? Yeah, you don't know.
Don't know.
And then Matt's game to watch this week is going to be it's going to be a North Star thriller. Dakota State at Valley City State. I mean, Valley City has been good. Is Dakota State a 3-0?
Hey,
Dakota
3-0
State
Dakota State, man. I mean,
I'm going to make you say something nice, Matt.
they're 3-0.
They are 3-0.
They're 3-0, man.
But again, if you lose to Valley City State, usually a top power in the North Star, it says something. If you win against them, it really does say something. And then the final kind of sneaky game to watch, St. Francis of Illinois, a 2-0 St. Francis of Illinois, going to play at Concordia. Yeah.
Okay. Definitely noteworthy. Concordia team that I don't know if people are still taking super seriously.
And Hinchman. Yeah, Dakota State is not where Matt played. That one's... You might be getting death threats after that one.
No, you're good. We all make mistakes, right? But you just don't make the same mistake again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm going to be watching a ton of these games just out of interest of where you're going to be because, like I said, 6 through 26, it's a hair's breadth.
The receiving votes on the poll next week is going to be like 15 teams probably.
Every single one of our receiving votes team is undefeated. Between Cumberland, Texas College, Campbellsville, Southeastern Cumberland's, Dakota State, St. Francis, and Taylor.
Something's got to give, right?
Something's got to give. I mean, obviously, you've got a Texas College team that's playing at Ottawa of Arizona. Something should definitely give there. Cumberland, Florida Memorial, something will give. One of those will have a loss. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, Chris Weiner says Truman Yulesgar was that dude for Baker Saturday. Absolutely was.
He is that dude.
He was. So the way that I do my players of the week is I literally go through every stinking box score and look. And Truman was on my short list. He just got outdone a little bit by Palandri, especially given the fact that was a top 10 matchup against College of Idaho team. To do that against them rises to the top. Let's see. Sounds like Grandview's being Grandview. That's true. Marion up 4 from 10th. That is true after a squeaky win against Concordia. And Chris Weiner says, yeah, Mid-American Nazarene Grayson will be a track meet if you like offense. That's definitely one for you. One thing I'll pick on here. I'm not so sure I like Georgetown down 7 spots after being within a touchdown of a full scholarship FCS, full 63 scholarship FCS team.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that either. But Georgetown was kind of low on my list after they lost
sure.
that first game. So,
but to have them have lost 7 spots now after that seems a little harsh to me.
Bit harsh, yeah. For sure.
They get a bye. Maybe they'll get a little bit of love during the bye week. Who knows? I mean,
can't lose to a bye.
You can't lose to a bye. Just ask Florida State. You can lose every other game, but you're not going to lose on your bye week.
Oh, Cal's coming to town, Corey.
And you know what? Bill Connolly's SP Plus says to take Florida State. So, dadgummit, I'm going to get my hopes up one more time.
You do you, man.
And he says take the over.
Really?
Yeah. I'm going, okay.
Cal is like one of the worst offenses in the country right now, so I don't know how.
Well, they're in there with the champs. Because let me tell you, DJU ain't doing crap either right now. Boy, we are off, aren't we?
Hey, it's fine.
It's
fine.
It is absolutely fine. At least, hey, look, at least I have the Gators to commiserate with this year. At least it's not just us in the cellar. I have friends in the cellar with me this time.
Look, man, Washington lost the Apple Cup this year with Will Rogers under center. So, like, I'm not having a great time either. I feel you.
We can all be in the cellar together. It's okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know who keeps us out of the cellar are our patrons. You throw them up here for me. I have no choice but to hit that ball out of the park. Our patrons are the ones who like I said, they do the not sexy work, make sure that the bills get paid. Get niceties like this where we can upgrade a little bit, get Matt full screen. That's stuff that our patrons pay for.
Full view.
Full view. It actually looks like we're professional over here.
Something like that.
Something like that. We'll go with it. And they are DSU Cone, the OG patron. Bob Boone, Roger Meyer, Jeremy Vobble, Fred Christensen, Ace Wellen, Brett, Marty Seabolt, Nick Ryan, Kyle Gregory, Tyler Pierce, Justin Hoffman, Steve Speakman, Brian Shake, Julianne Shager, Nate Sopier, Stephen Cutler, Julie Lout, Dale Norton, Ryan, Nathan Moore, Ryan, Jason Crawford, Charles A. Flowers, Todd Nix, Sean Chamberlain, Zach Lance, Josue Trujillo, Casey Willis, and Carol C. Suggs, Chris Hinchman, 21, Derek Lowers, Jason Garnon, and our newest one, USF Sucks.
Wow. It's on the nose.
It is. It is. But you know what? After they were down, after they were down 21-0 against Defiance at home, I too was wondering if USF actually did suck. Yeah, the thought did run through my head. They sort of do right now.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting that to be on that list.
Hey, you gotta love it. And that is going to do it for this edition of the NAIF Ball Show, powered by AdCraft, custom apparel and merch. I am so looking forward to it. We've got Thomas might get a win this week. We play Union Commonwealth.
Oh, wow.
We play Union Commonwealth.
Not Union Commonwealth.
How many times am I just going to say Union? I don't know. But it really is fair because it's really, really hard to find Union Bulldogs. Yeah. By just Union football because there's like 4 or 5 other
unions around,
right?
Yeah.
And so I, for one, salute their attempt to differentiate themselves, and they're in Kentucky. I mean, they're not even a state. Kentucky is not a state. It is a commonwealth.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, thus the name, okay. Right? I think
I really thought you were about to throw me for a loop there when you started with Kentucky's not a state.
I think it's them and Massachusetts, who's a commonwealth.
You know better than I would, man. I wasn't around when all that happened.
Oh, hush. The United States has 4 states that are officially designated as commonwealths: Kentucky, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, and Virginia. So yeah, I mean, it's just like Louisiana. They don't have counties; they have parishes. Those 4 aren't states; they're commonwealths. It's just what's in a name. But I do like the fact that Union is using that idea to differentiate themselves. I think
And there's only a few other Commonwealth schools in general, aren't there? They're not very, because
Virginia
Virginia's got
Commonwealth.
one.
Yeah, Virginia's got one. I don't know if there's a Pennsylvania or a Massachusetts Commonwealth. But yeah, VCU is definitely the most recognizable of the four.
Mm-hmm.
So
Made the Final Four that one time. That was cool.
Yeah. With Shaka Smart, I think, is the head coach.
God, yeah.
Boy, that's
Forgot
digging
about
one out of the
Shaka,
archives.
Oof.
The North one just give up. Well, my guy, two of those teams are from two of those states are about as northern as you can get in Pennsylvania and Massachusetts. I don't know. Are you going to tell?
Man.
Are you going to tell Great Britain that being a Commonwealth is bad? Got to deal with a king if you do that.
Well, we're in America, so isn't that kind of our thing to do that?
That is the point. That's the point.
Yeah.
We are totally off the rails now. If we weren't before,
It's
now
fine.
we really are.
This is a football podcast, by the way.
And people are still surprisingly listening. Anyway, keep it locked here. We'll have more throughout the week. We'll have everything posted up so you can have a look at it. For our patrons, of course, we have a couple of niceties for you, whether it's our poll breakdown on Thursdays, where our patrons get to see how the poll votes were cast. Not by who. That gets redacted. Gotta have a little bit of behind the curtain there, but not a whole bunch. That is, and then of course you get an early shot at the viewing guide just to figure out how to arrange your Saturday. So, other than that, we will see y'all next week at the same time. And well, other than that, we will see y'all on the Twitter feed. And then we just got a comment as we went off.
I saw that.
Did I miss Kaiser?